day one with a game plan for a new loan officer, brand new into the industry, what's the biggest piece of advice you can give them?
Know your clients, know the products, we'll communicate, and just don't say, well, there's a problem. The person had a mortgage late like 6 months ago, and don't say anything to the bank or the client, because it's going to be an issue.
Okay, the mortgage industry has changed dramatically over the past few years. What are the biggest shifts you've seen? How have they impacted your business today? And how did you pivot around them?
Well, starting about 2007, when the financial crisis came, there's been a lot more regulations on the industry and due diligence put on every single deal and quality control. And not that I've ever had any problems at all, but it just made it much more regulatory with fees to charge, time parameters, underwriting guidelines. So it's pretty standardized in a lot of ways. So that and the regulatory and the due diligence that's involved on the deals here. And it was justified what happened in 2007 and 2008. It was just simple. The markets were asking for problems, and that's what happened.
And they gave loans to people that could fog a mirror and, said,
yeah, it's just
buy this and we'll figure it out later.
100% financing and interest only, no jobs. And that's not a healthy market. So it's only a matter of time before it's going to crash. And fortunately, at that point in time, I didn't really do that many of those types of deals because my clientele is a little different. But you could see the handwriting on the wall, because I remember some of these savings allowance. It's just, if the movie that was out on Wall Street, 2007, about the market crash.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's good. What was the name of that?
Too Big to Fail.
Too Big to Fail, yeah. So it was an interesting movie. It's very, very true on the industry.
So with that, then, like, what do you going to the mortgage industry side, like, how do you help your newer LOs or advice to an LO about advising their customers the right way to do it?
It's going back to what I said before, what has been my pillars of success, if you will. Knowledge of the product, of the business, communication, always talking to clients, honesty. Don't, if you have bad news, to say it, because it's going to come out. So honesty, and just being available, and just, the calls on the weekends or on nights. And it's easy. And you do that, you really build up a lot of loyalty from people. And obviously, the results on each transaction must be favorable, and people have to feel confident. You know what you're doing, and just act like if you're at a doctor who's the primary spinal surgeon. He knows what he's doing. So they have to have the same exact feeling.
So day one with a game plan for a new loan officer, brand new into the industry, what's the biggest piece of advice you can give them?
Know your clients, know the products, we'll communicate, and just don't say, well, there's a problem. The person had a mortgage late like 6 months ago, and don't say anything to the bank or the client, because it's going to be an issue. So or there's a tax lien. So you just have got to just deal with all the issues up front. And this way your chances of success are much higher. And because they're ultimately home insured banks, might be a little bit different rates, home insured loans, but it might be a higher rate, but you have to just know what you're talking about and know what to look for.
Your core values have been the same thing for 30 years, which I think has led to a lot of your success. Communication has, over the years, from text messaging to fax machines to, email, what used to be an email, people now send through text messages. And what used to be a phone call is now, a voice note. Like, that communication piece has been so lost. And it's one of those things that, like, I think I've learned in the conversation today that the communication, as much as I think it is critical, like, has reinforced that the communication by, picking up the phone and actually, like, taking the time is so critical to keeping the deals like together, but also moving the needle and providing that level of service.
Exactly, and also personalizes. And you learn so much about people when you talk to them. I can tell about a person in 3 minutes on the phone. Level of education, how they are. This is generalized, but I'm usually pretty accurate. Level of education, just their mental state. You just learn a lot about a person in just a few moments, just asking the right questions. And they're not personal questions, but you can just tell how they react to things, if they get back to you quickly, and just their whole persona. So, to me, phone communication. I've never not talked to a client first, except for business management clients. Some of the entertainers, without talking to the client. It's just I have to just know who I'm dealing with. Not that I'm saying I'm not going to work with them, but I just want to know the personalities and how it's going to work and so forth. And it takes 3 minutes. Then we can get into all the emails. And one thing that I'm finally getting better at now is texting, because I'm realizing now that emails are like sort of passé. Almost passé. It's now text. And I'm not the greatest on my iPhone about texting, but I'm getting a lot better because not by desire, but by need. So, you have to adapt to your environment. And but the pillar is though phone initially, and it's a nice. And you develop rapport that way and loyalty, because if you don't, as human beings, we all like to communicate with one another in varying forms, but there's nothing like a good phone conversation. How are you doing? How was your weekend? 30 seconds. And you just develop a rapport with somebody. And then that's how I do it. And I am able to usually get more and more repeat business from people, so colleagues, brokers. Yeah, it's really pretty simple.
And then with websites, what do you do for a website?
www.CohenFinancialGroup.com. We update it over every year or so. And it's efficient. And then my other big form of marketing, which is really popular, is I have a weekly newsletter that goes, a weekly rate sheet, and market commentary comes out. It's consistent, and it's about 8,000 to 10,000 people. I think it's about 8,000.
Wow. And that's consumers and agents.
Agents, business managers, clients, and that's informative. Then we have a once a month newsletter that's really consistent, talks about, and you ask why something's Saturday, because the big news every month on the economy is the day before, which is the jobs report. So we talk about that, and we'll give illustrations or examples of some loans I've done in the past month, and talk about where we think the market's going and so forth. And I've got so many compliments on it, and it's that it's easy, and a lot of brokers. I was with dinner, I was about 8 brokers at a dinner party, and Mark, that's the only mortgage newsletter I read is yours, because it's simple and to the point, and it's heartfelt.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Very nice.
Is there any final thoughts or piece of advice that you can give?
I appreciate your time and the interview. Very well thought out. And I've been in business, like I said, for 38 years. And every day's challenging, and it's fun, different. It's got its rewards. And I feel like it's been a great career for me, and I hope there's several more years. And I love helping people, and I love doing what I do.